Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. So I've been wanting to do this for a while. By the way, I'm outside today. It's actually it's okay. I think the temperature is like high 40s. I don't know. So, um, but it's April 5th. Still isolated, and I started doing this outside last year, July 20th, I believe, my first video. July 20th, 2019. And then for the winter, I took it inside, and I haven't been doing as many videos. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about the number of possible dimensions. Okay, so let me just start. I usually don't edit or cut or anything, but real life intrudes. So getting right into this, I just finished listening to Eric Weinstein on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about towards the end of the podcast, really great podcast from a couple of days ago. It was April 2nd. Joe taped it. It was Joe threw it up on his channel or his podcast site. I think it was the third or the second. I don't know. So the last 45 minutes really intense. But anyway, Eric was talking about the number of dimensions, possible dimensions. Now he has a number 14. And Joe kind of was asking him, like, 14, where does that number come from? Is it arbitrary? And he really didn't answer it, really. I'm going to look into a little bit more. I'm on his channel right now. But I've always heard the number 10, like string theorists and, Brian Greene, here I'm talking about 10. 10 dimensions. So I'm going to go through this very quick. Now, this is for not the specialist, the layperson. I'm not a physicist. I love popular science. I listen, I'm a big, huge Sean Carroll fan. I've read all his books and all that. Brian Greene as well. But I'm not a physicist. So I just want to, this is kind of the 10 dimensions from a layperson, okay? So, and I even have conversations with people. They're like, wait a minute, 10, what does that even mean? All right, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. I usually don't have notes, but this is little stuff is a bit tough here. So I jotted down a couple of things just to organize my thoughts. So, okay, so we know the three spatial dimensions, length, height, and depth. And then the fourth one is the weird one, which is time, right? So time is dimension. So let me just go through these. So number one, length, which you call, like, length would be like just the line, right? So you call that the x-axis, right? And that's it, a straight line. And then when you add height, you have the y-axis, right? So you can think of a square, and then depth, z-axis, right? So this would be area, cross section. Think of a cube. So the three dimensions, three spatial that we know of that are not problematic, right? So length, width, and then depth, and then which would equal volume. You think of cube. And then, okay, number 4 is time. All right, now it gets very, very weird. All right, so fifth dimension. Then you have a lot of the string theorists chiming in here. So a string theory at the fifth dimension is a dimension where you can measure differences and similarities between our world and other possible worlds. Okay, so it's a means of, I wrote down, it's a means of measuring. So think about this world and other possible worlds. Now, when you think of the sixth dimension, you can compare and position all the possible universes this is key, that start with the same initial conditions as ours, the Big Bang. So fifth and sixth dimensions, think of other possible worlds with the same initial conditions, same, actually, okay? So now, dimension number 7, accessing different possible worlds which start with different initial conditions. So 5 and 6, the same initial conditions since the beginning of time. Now in dimension 7, they're completely different, all right? Jumping ahead, dimension number 8, possible universe histories, all right? So let me explain. So you have, not only do you have different, I wrote this down here, not only do you have different initial conditions, but you also have the branching out into infinity, okay? So different initial conditions branching, infinite number of branches branching out into infinity. They call this infinities, all right? So I'm going through these quite quickly. And then here we are, dimension number 9. This is all possible universe histories, which include, again, different initial conditions and also different possible laws of physics. So that's really like, can we stretch our brain here? Different initial conditions, different laws of physics. And then finally, 10 is everything possible or even imaginable. All right. So anything beyond 10 is just, it's beyond beyond our mortal thinking, if you will. Mortals are incapable of that. So I'm interested to see what Eric Weinstein, those 4 other dimensions. I'm doing my research now, and I just can't imagine what it is. I've only heard of 10. It's the first time. So I just made a couple of additional notes here about these dimensions that are, the 6 newer ones, if you will. We all know the 4, the 3 spatial, height, width, and depth, and then the time, and then the 6 are the weird ones. So I have here, this is compactified, so very small scale. There's something called brane theory, 3-dimensional submanifold corresponding to a bane. All right, so all known particles besides gravity would be restricted. So try to imagine that. So we all know, if you compare classical mechanics to quantum, classical works just fine with ordinary life. The quantum scale is subatomic stuff, right? So the completely different world. Like I hear some people who are not usually non-physicists, they're like, oh, quantum physics, and this like turned the classical mechanics on its head, and it did. But these are the people who don't know what they're talking about. They're essentially saying like quantum mechanics, Newtonian physics is wrong. No, that's not. That's not correct. It is absolutely correct. It's just a different scale. You're looking at different phenomena. Now, yeah, we can't have cell phone and all this technology without the quantum mechanics. It is accurate and all that, but Newtonian physics works just fine, and it's real. Okay, I think I made that clear. So anyway, what's interesting when you think about, I have here a note here, when you study time. So if you take a telescope and you're looking at all of these stars, which are no longer there, like you might be looking at a star that's no longer there, like 10 million years old, that's been dead, that's been gone, but yet you could see it. So it's interesting to go back and forward with time. And there you go. So you have other theories, string theory and theory of everything, grand unified theory. I hope this makes sense. I'm going to put some pictures here, some diagrams, and I'll put some links here. Okay, good friends, good books on a sleepy conscience. No politics on this one. Okay, have a great night, everyone.